Hey there, it's Monday and time for another Monday Mastery live at 5. I'm dating coach Rick Soderbeer, and it's time to talk about making better decisions as we date. And we'll wait here for just a little bit as some folks start to jump on. And it's my last broadcast from Ironwood, Michigan for a while. And I might have one more later this month, but I'm heading back to Kansas City this week, or this coming weekend, and closing up my apartment and becoming a full-time RVer. So that's a new adventure for me. So I'm looking forward to that. So now the other thing I don't know is I haven't been able to access Facebook all day, so I don't know if you all can access or see the recording this week. So this is going to be an interesting afternoon. I don't see anybody logged in yet, so I'm guessing that you may not be able to see it since Facebook is out. Apparently, they have large outages across the country, and I happen to be hit by one of them. So anyway, it's just a little weather update. It's been gray and gloomy and cool. I think it's 59 degrees today, and overcast, and so it's time to head south. You know, I like the warmer weather. You know, the colors are just awesome up here right now. So that's the one, the big positive that we have going on up here. Just beautiful fall colors. And I ran into some folks at the campground this week this past week and past weekend, and one of the couples was from Texas, down near where I'm going to be for the winter, and they were just thrilled that they got up here in the fall to see the marvelous change of seasons. So anyway, well, I am guessing that nobody can access the program today, so I will talk for a little bit and share some thoughts and concerns and ideas, and if by any chance anybody is able to break in, then wonderful. We'll have a conversation, more than a one-way conversation. Today's topic is about trying to fix someone. And I've had two conversations, almost identical conversations with people over the weekend, and these were both ladies, but I know it's not just the ladies that run into this, or that do this. Guys do it too. We try to fix our women. You know, I tried to encourage my ex to do more than take on more responsibility in my practice at the time, my financial planning practice. Couldn't get her to do it. You know, it wasn't in her wheelhouse. And anyway, the point of the point I'm trying to make here is that both of these women were in different types of relationships. They were both dating, but one was dating a functioning alcoholic, and the other was dating somebody that wasn't over his ex. And they both asked me the same question, or made the same statement, that they were hoping that their love would that they could love the other person enough to get them to change. And when I heard both of those statements from two different women, your ladies and guys as well, your love is not going to change someone. They have to want to change. They have to recognize the situations for what they are, and they have to recognize the problems that they're dealing with, and there's nothing you can do about it. The first gal I talked to had written me for advice on her situation about her boyfriend of a few months. She said he continually talks about his ex, and he's just wants to get back together with her for closure. And she wanted to know. She said that they did get together, and she asked him how it went, and he said fine, it went well. And she said that he started to get a little distant and things started to change in their relationship. So she was wondering if she should pull away and be a little bit elusive, and in order for him to come back to their relationship. And I just point blank told her, I said, he's still got a connection to his ex, whether he's still in love or not. If he talks about her all the time, if he wants to talk to her and get closure, I can almost guarantee that what's going to happen is they're going to talk. They're going to share thoughts and experiences, and the next thing you know, old feelings start to rekindle, and it's just going to go down a wrong road. And they parted for specific reasons, and those reasons won't change. It's when you leave a relationship, you're leaving it because there are problems or a major problem. And when you walk away from it, that problem is not going to change. It takes almost a catastrophic event for people to make major life changes. And in the case that I'm talking about, the guy going back and talking to his ex-girlfriend, all they're going to do is end up getting back together. Then the woman that wrote me is going to be the one that gets hurt. She's the one that's going to end up with nothing. She will have invested a lot of time and emotion, and no matter what she does, whether she plays the game of pulling back and playing coy or whatever you want to call it, she's going to end up alone, and she's going to end up hurt because he's going to walk away. And how do I know this? Because I've seen it happen so many times. I've experienced it with clients and with friends and talking with people and understanding where their thinking went wrong. And it's just it's sad to say, and this woman was in denial. I could tell that when she responded to my message, and what I told her is that she needed to leave because he was more than likely going to end up with his ex, and either way, even if he doesn't, he's still not over her. He has an emotional attachment that she is not going to overcome. It's going to take time for him to heal and move on past that relationship if they don't get back together. And the best thing that she can do is to walk away and start all over. Start looking for someone new. Start looking for someone that's emotionally available. We'd all love to think that our love is strong enough to change people or to change someone, but 99 times out of 100, it's not. They have to come to some sort of personal epiphany and make changes of their own volition. We cannot change other people. And I know most of you on that will see this, and there's still nobody on. So I'm guessing that I'm just recording this one for posterity. But hopefully you all recognize that. Hopefully you all see that or have learned, and unfortunately you've probably learned the hard way, that you can't change someone as much as you'd like to. Now, the second case, or the second woman that I'm talking about, told me that she had dated a guy, and she didn't recognize or realize how much he drank, and he would have. She said he would have several beers a night, and there would be times that he would have way more than normal. And he would get drunk and belligerent and obnoxious and mean. And she said she broke up with him 3 times. The third time was final, but the first each time he would start to write and apologize, and she would take him back because, number one, she said she loved him, and I believe her. And he said he would change, but he didn't. Obviously it happened a second and a third time. And the comment that struck me is that she said, "I thought my love could change him." And when she was hurt when it didn't. But by the third time, she had had enough, and she says he still texts from time to time and still says "I love you," and it's just, that's not good enough. The walk is not, or the talk is not equaling the walk, and when you're not. When you're how do I want to say this? When you're only paying lip service, and apologies are cheap. It's the actions, it's the follow through, it's the actual change. And in the case of the second situation, if she wanted to see him again, which I don't think she does, I think once she makes up her mind that she's done, and which is fine. But and I think we've all been in these revolving door relationships where they do something, or you see a red flag, and you end the relationship, and then you start to miss that person. You have that loneliness, and you're thinking about them, and you think about all the good aspects of someone, and it's enticing, it's alluring, and it's toxic. You can't. Oh, there's a meme that I saw on Facebook that said, going back to a toxic relationship is like drinking poison and thinking that it will all be okay. And that's exactly what we do when we go back to relationships that aren't working. and I've been in revolving door relationships. The maximum number of times that I've gone back is 3. And the third time, it's you just get to a point where, yeah, no, this isn't working, and it seems that it's, at least for me, and hopefully it's the same way with you all, that that you're in the relationship for a period of time. The second time you go back, it's a little bit shorter, and the third time's a little bit shorter. And hopefully you don't do it more than 3 times. But I know there are people that do it multiple times, and 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and the reality is those relationships are always going to be toxic. They're always going to be problematic. There's the just because you walk away the first time or the second time, and they come back and say, "Oh, I've changed. I'm sorry." Da 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 da. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean anything. They have to show that they've changed. Their actions have to change. And unless the actions change, it just doesn't make a difference. And this is something that it is really, really, really hard, especially if you had a really strong connection with someone. I still look at one of my last relationship, and there were some awesome qualities that she had. But I have to continually remind myself of our differences and the problems that we had in that relationship. And it's only through remembering what our differences were and the problems and the recognizing that this is not something that I can live with long term, that draws me back into reality. Do I miss her? Absolutely. Is it hard at times? Yes, it is. It's really difficult, and I understand for all of you that you get tied up with emotions, and you get drawn back. It's so easy to go back because what happens is we're going back to a place of comfort, even though it's not great. It's still a place of comfort because you know that person, they know you. And even though there's going to be parts of it that drive you absolutely crazy, you still go back, and you put up with it for so long, and then it's just you get to a point where you've had enough. And so consequently, the hardest thing to do is walk away from the relationship the first time and not go back. And that's one of the reasons that I always encourage that you block phone numbers. You may need to, unfriend and block them on social media. And blocking on social media is not necessarily a mean thing. A lot of times it's for your own protection. You if you're anything like me, we all have a tendency to go back and see what our ex is doing. We have a tendency to see want to know what they're up to. And, whether it's good intentioned or not, we all tend to do that. And that's why I always encourage you to first and foremost, unfriend them. And it has nothing to do with them being a good person or a bad person. It's just so that their stuff doesn't pop up in your news feed, on Facebook. You want to limit your exposure to any content with them. And a lot of times you just have to block them on social media so that not only will you not get their content then, and you won't see them in friends' pictures. When we have mutual friends, they may still be doing things together, and it really hurts to see your ex out with somebody else, or is out having a good time without you, and you may be home and alone, and and all those things can wreak havoc on your emotions. And so in trying to move forward, and I talk about this all the time, that you need to take time to grieve the loss of a relationship, and grieve the loss of a lover or a friend or a spouse or whatever it is, but that just takes time. And when you constantly have reminders like on social media, it becomes very difficult to break the thought patterns of having them front and center in your of your thinking. It took me. I dated a woman for a couple of years, and she was really a good woman, and it took me several years to get past that. And there were just something about her that there were certain things, certain routines that I had that we shared, and it every time I went through that routine or did that activity, her thought popped into my head, or she popped into my head. So it just took an extraordinary long period of time. And there are certain activities that are hard to do differently. In this case, it was making the bed, and we would make the bed together. So it's one of those things that you have to get yourself past those types of things to be able to move on in a healthy emotional way. I opened my water and haven't taken a drink yet. So there's a lot of aspects of dating that we can shoot ourselves in the foot by doing some of the things that we do. And the whole idea of being an intentional dater is to think through what you're doing. Think through, for 98 to 99% of the people that I talk to, I can help them identify red flags with their ex after dating only 30 days or less. There are so many things, but because it's a new relationship, we're infatuated with that person. We tend to overlook those things. But when you're able to step back from the infatuation and think about it realistically, does he have everything that I'm looking for? Does she have everything that I'm looking for? You have to think through these things. I'm working on my online on an online course about dating and relationships. And one of the things that I've come to recognize is that all the coaching, all the therapy, all the counseling that we get when we're married is only covering up the underlying issues. You're trying to smooth things out. You're trying to change each other enough so that you can get along. And what happened, and the reason they're doing that is they're trying to preserve the marriage, which I fully understand and I fully get and I'm fully supportive of. But the problem is they're not dealing with the underlying issues. And the underlying issues are that you're not compatible to begin with. Because most people settle right from the beginning. As I've said so many times, that we're in an immediate gratification society. We're told that we deserve the best car, the best house, the best meal, the best clothes, the best mortgage, whatever it is, we deserve the best. And the until it gets to dating. And then our friends and family tell us, well, you're too picky. You can't have everything you want. And I say, BS. And that's not true. I've talked to literally hundreds of soulmate couples, couples that are or extraordinary couples that are in an extraordinary relationship. If you don't believe in soulmates, however, I think when you find your soulmate, you'll start to believe it. I know that when I first got back into the dating world, I didn't believe in soulmates either. Then I had an incident that happened, and it changed my thinking altogether. And it was just it taught me what unconditional love was. It taught me what extraordinary communication was. And those were two things that I've never had in my life. Not from my parents, not from anybody I dated, not from my ex. So those things are components of a soulmate relationship, and you just connect, and the relationship is just so much easier than any other relationship you will have ever had. And when you find that relationship, you'll understand why none of the others worked out. I know that's a bit hackneyed or cliched, but it is true. And I'm working on a couple of interviews with a couple of soulmate couples that I want them to share their stories with you to encourage you to wait, to be patient. It's never fun to be dating for a long period of time. I've been in this game for going on 12 years. Or 11 and a half years. And would I love to be in a relationship right now? Absolutely. Do I want to be in the wrong relationship? Absolutely not. And I, when I was with my ex for 25 years, and there were things that I thought that I could change about her, and I couldn't. And she had to make her decisions for herself. I had to make my decisions. And one of the realizations I came to is that, especially towards the end, there were things that I was, and it wasn't just revolving around work. If any of you remember the story that I shared, I thought my ex had capabilities far beyond what she was willing to do. But I saw those capabilities, or the potential for those capabilities. She didn't, and she didn't care. There were issues, that and I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on my ex. I'm not. I'm just sharing some of the frustrations and some of the problems, and they're problems that we all go through. One of the things that I wanted to do was, on the Saturday morning, get up, get going, house clean, so that we had the entire weekend to do fun stuff. But no, that just is as hard as I tried, and that just wasn't her thing. So I just finally gave up, and I said, okay, I'll do my cleaning, you go do what you want, and I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. And I just had to let it go. It was frustrating. It drove me crazy, but I knew that I was fighting a losing battle. So, and ultimately there were a whole stack of things that led to our divorce. And my point of this is that I'm not going to settle for in my next relationship. And none of you should. You all should be setting your standards way up here. Whoever comes into your life should have to meet a very high standard. But the reality is, when it's the right one, they're going to meet that standard easily. And um, just as I've said a number of times that when the right one comes into your life, it will be magical, and it's in every extraordinary couple or soulmate couple that I've interviewed or talked to have said the same thing. Their partner has brought more to the relationship than they ever could have imagined. So it's, those are some things that you have to think about. And I have people regularly tell me, well, you're too rigid with your must-have list. You've got to be more flexible. No, I don't, because this is going to be my relationship. This is the relationship that I want with someone. And and there are several of you people, there's several of you out there, or that tell me, well, I'm too set in my ways. Well, you're going to find somebody that is set in their ways, and your ways are pretty compatible. You're set you're similarly set in your ways, and that is going to be an eye opener for you. I've experienced that, and it's fun to watch, and it's fun to be a part of a relationship when it starts to move that smoothly. So anyway, it looks like there's been nobody here. So I hope I'm just going to wrap it up today. We're at about 31 minutes, I think. Yep. And since I don't have any questions, I could keep going for about an hour, but I'm not sure that this is even going to save or to post, or and I guess I won't know until Facebook comes back up and online, and we'll just go from there. So anyway, if this does post, awesome. If it doesn't, oh well, I've just sat here for 30 minutes and talked to myself. Anyway, I hope you do all get to see this, and I hope you have a great and blessed week. And I will see you next week from the Kansas City area. I will probably be on the Kansas side, broadcasting from my trailer. I don't know what stage my home packing or my apartment packing will be in, so we'll just never know. We'll just play it by ear. But I will be in Missouri or Kansas next week. And have a great and blessed week, everyone. I love you, and I hope the Facebook gets fixed for next week, and we'll rock and roll from there. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.